Hello, crafty friends. This is Michael with ePapery. Welcome back. Today I'm starting my mini-series on components of a journal. I have written down 7 different components of a journal. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't more for some people. This is just a basic view of the components that I use. You can add and subtract from any of these. And this is just meant to spur your imagination. I'm not really going to do tutorials of anything. I'm just basically going through items that I have used when I'm making a journal. So the first of the series today is the cover. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use these components in the order that I'm doing them. Many people don't do their cover till the end, or people may make ephemera before they do the pages, or some people finish the entire journal before they actually bind it. So just because I'm doing it in this order does not mean that you have to do it that way. You can do it however you feel is the most efficient way for you to do it. I'm going to go through several items that I have used as covers, and there are many things that you can use to make journal covers, and I am sure that I am going to miss some of them. So if you have one that you've used and would like to mention in the comments, please feel free to do so. So my first one is 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and we all know what that is. That's what I have here. This is double-sided, and this is the little basic journal that I made from this 12 by 12 sheet. Now, I'm not exactly sure how much of this 12 by 12 sheet I'm getting in here, but the premise of this is folding in a portion of this 12 by 12 sheet, which is eventually going to become the pockets, and then scoring around to just make the edges of the journal. And then you can put a spine in it, and you can, I have used elastic on this one simply because I seem to like the elastic where you can take out the pages. Well, take out the pages and put new ones in if you care to do that, if you've used up all the pages. And you might want to take the pages that you've used and put them in a journal where you've actually stitched them in. So that is one that you can use just out of a piece of 12 by 12 paper. Very simple, very easy to do. And then these are the pockets. There's a pocket in the front and the pocket in the back. Now, these are not necessarily very sturdy, but you could make them sturdier by adding another piece of cardstock or paper to it if you'd like to do that. So that would be a very basic cover for a journal. Excuse me while I throw things on the floor because I don't have a lot of room on my desk. So, okay, the second item that I've used a fair amount for making covers of a journal or making a journal, period, is envelopes. So I have a couple of examples here. For example, here is a large mail envelope, and you can take this and fold it in half and make a journal. And if you want to, you can add a spine here, you know, a 1/4 inch or an inch or whatever kind of spine you want. Cover this in scrapbook paper or book pages, magazine cover, magazine pages, whatever you'd like to form the cover of your journal. This is a very easy way to do it also. If you watch Gail Augustinelli's channel, you see that she does this quite frequently. She uses two envelopes, one envelope for the outside of the cover and one envelope for the inside of the cover, and then she glues those together and sews them together to make her journal cover. So that is using a large envelope. Now you can also use smaller envelopes if you want to. You can just, and again, you can make a smaller journal out of small envelopes. For example, here is one that I made not that long ago. It's basically more of a notepad. So this is made out of a couple of envelopes. Okay, so you've got one flap here you open up and there's a notepad. And then there also is a pocket here. And then it's got a little Velcro closure on. You close that up. This next envelope flap, you open that up. And there's another pad there. There is a tag here. There's a window here. And you close that up. Another Velcro. Here's another Velcro. And you can open that up. And open this up again, and you've got another notepad, and you could make another pocket or use a belly band. I think in this instance, yeah, I made a belly band here. I haven't put anything in it, but that's what I had made. And then here is a pocket on the back also. So there's a fair amount of room in there if you wanted to use this. If you made it a little bit smaller, you could use it as a notebook to put in your purse, or you could make this to use as maybe storage for ephemera. You could change out the notepads and put pockets in there. So there's all kinds of things, and this is just basically made from two envelopes. Now there are a ton of videos out there on how to make envelope folios. So this is, I guess, what I would call this is just an envelope folio. So that's another way that you can use an envelope. Another type of envelope journal, and this one I think I had seen on, I think it was Natasha at Treasure Books, where I first saw this. And I made one not too long ago that I did a flip through on my channel with Margaret from 7th Plaza's Denim and Lace Papers. But you're taking a base piece, and you can make this however large you'd like to make it, and cover it, and then add something to the middle of this. And then you take different sizes of envelopes that you may have, and I haven't glued this one together yet, but I included papers also where I just added a flap. And basically what you do is you just glue to the back side of your base piece, and you just keep adding. Now you can do it one of two ways. You could just keep adding it all to one side, or you can do an alternating thing where you'd have one on this side, one on this side, and you'd keep going doing that. So here's another one. I've made a pocket out of this envelope, covered it up, and so now I'm back to this side, and you just keep doing that with, here's another piece of paper that I can add to there. You just keep adding them as you go along from one side to another. And you can add as many as you want. Obviously, after a while, it's going to get pretty thick, and it's going to be difficult to hang on to. But you just keep adding these until you've got what you want. Fairly simple and really fun to make, to see how you can put these envelopes together to make something that is going to hold a fair amount of journaling space. Okay, the only thing with this that you have to be careful of is you have to be careful when you add these envelopes and you're doing it by using the envelope flap, you have to be careful when you're adding the flaps, gluing the flaps, that you don't glue them right exactly on the fold. You need to leave a little bit of space there, so that will give you room enough to get it open all the way without having a problem. So that's all you have to be careful of, is just make sure you're doing that. And then you can make another envelope journal. As I said, these are quite fun. You can look on my channel and you'll see the one that I made previously. So that's another envelope type cover. Packaging. I think we're all fairly familiar with packaging that you can use. A lot of times people will use Amazon packaging. So here's some of the, well, it's probably got my address on it, oh well. Anyway, Amazon packaging, you can just take and fold that in half, and then that will make a journal. The same way with the bubble wrap packages, the same type of thing. You can fold it in half, and that will make a journal cover. It's going to have nice crunchy noise and feel to it. So that's nice to do too with that one. And then you can use boxes also. So for example, sorry, my pile is kind of falling down here. Okay, so here's a box that I received in the mail. I don't remember what came in it, but there's a box. Now this one is pretty good size, and if you wanted to keep it this size, you could maybe make a lap book, but you could also cut this down if you wanted to do that. Basically, you would, take the box apart, open up one side of it, and remove that part. Leave the other part as the spine. Remove the tops and the bottoms, and you have a nice sturdy cardboard to make a journal. And your spine is already there for you. This one's a pretty good size. I'd say this is probably an inch or so. And you can cover this with whatever you can imagine. So that's a box. Another type of box that I have used, and I don't have an empty one right now, but this is an example of a journal I made out of a Kleenex box. Okay, and so it's basically the same idea. You take the box and you cut it down so you have one side open. This happens to be the side where you took the Kleenex out, and then I've just made that into a window, cute little window tag. And then you add your signatures on. On this one, again, I used the elastic so that I could take this out and use it if I wanted to. And I added different types of ephemera to that. Also, because the Kleenex box is quite deep. Certain ones are quite deep. So what I did here is I took and made a couple of flaps. I just took and folded, like you take a piece of fabric and fold it in to make a flap. That's what I did with excess cardboard there. And then I made those into a flap. And then I took an envelope and I cut the bottom off the envelope and glued it to the flap. And then opened the top of the envelope to make a pocket. So then I have two pockets in the middle. And then I have, I think I just had two. Yeah, I have two signatures here. I didn't put pockets in the front of it, but you could do that. So that is how you could utilize a Kleenex box. And you wouldn't have to have it, you wouldn't have to have a spine as big as this one. You could cut it down, but that's using a Kleenex box. Okay, a couple more things here that I find myself paying more attention to mail when I receive it, or when I buy something, what kind of a packaging it's in. For example, this was a smartphone case, and it came in a little box like this. Well, I looked at it and thought, well, wouldn't that be a cute little journal? Yeah. I mean, you have this spine here, which is maybe a half an inch at most, but again, what you do is you cut off the excess pieces and use this to make a journal. And you can cover it in scrapbook paper or whatever you'd like to do. Also, this is kind of flimsy, but my daughter bought my husband a trivet for Christmas, had the Green Bay Packers on it. But this is the somewhat of a box that it came in, and it has this big open area here. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be cute to put in like some acetate to make a big window there? So I have salvaged this, and I will probably use it to make a small journal. Again, this is somewhat flimsy, but if you wanted to add additional paper to it, then that would make it more sturdy. And then last but not least, this, I'm not even sure what, I'm not sure what this was. It says silicone cover protection. I don't know. But anyway, it has this cute little flap thing on here that closes this up, and you open this up, and I thought, well, wouldn't that be a cute little notebook or a small little journal? And then it also has a piece of paper in it that I thought, well, I could use that and trace around it to make the pages on the inside. And then there you would have a cute little notebook or journal. So I look at things differently now, and it probably bugs some people in my family, because now I have people that are saying to me, don't throw that away because mom probably wants to keep it. So they're making fun of me, but I don't care. Anyway, and then this also gives you an idea for a different type of closure if you wanted to put it on a smaller journal. It's just basically a tab with a hole in it, and then another, a tab that comes out, and you just put it in there, and then that will make a closure. So there you go. So I salvaged that one. So those are ideas from different types of packaging that you can have. Now, on my list here, I wrote down, you can cover the packaging with, these are just a few ideas of things that I have used, design or scrapbook paper, fabric or lace, magazine book covers, book pages, newspaper, faux leather, napkins, wrapping paper, wallpaper. And a lot of these items that are listed here are things that you can find like in a thrift store. You can find old books, and you can find fabric and lace, and you can find sometimes newspaper and magazines and napkins, and even wrapping paper and even wallpaper. So I'll show you, for example, the other day I was thrifting at St. Vinny's, and I found this. And what this is textured vinyl wall covering, and it's an entire roll. Now, I know for a fact that if you went to Menards and bought this, it would be pretty expensive. I don't know. I haven't looked at it brand new for a while, but I'm sure it's over, 10, 12, might even be $20 a roll. It's textured, it's embossed, but it would make a wonderful covering for a journal. And then this one happens to be cream colored, so you could distress it. You could add embossing powder. You could do whatever you wanted to. And there's an entire roll of it, and I paid $3.99 for this. So there's an example of some type of wallpaper you could utilize. Or wallpaper borders sometimes are, available, and those work nicely too. Okay, the next one is old book covers. I was thrifting again the other day, and I happened to see this book, and it's, quite old and torn and ratty and whatever, but I went ahead and finished taking out the pages of the book, which can be used in collages or to make different types of ephemera out of. Nice and vintage looking. And then you have the cover. So you can utilize the cover. You could add another piece of paper here. You could add washi tape. You could add Tyvek. You could add all kinds of things there to help sturdy the spine a little bit. You could either sew through the spine with a stitch, or you could make a hidden spine, which we'll talk about later on in one of my other videos. But then you have a cover. And I thought this one was very pretty just the way it is. Very vintage looking. So, and I think this particular book was just basically something about wars and whatnot. So it wasn't anything that, and it was slated for the landfill. So, and I think I paid, I don't know, 50 cents for it or something like that. So there's another idea that you can use as a cover. Okay, the next is like fabric or lace. So here is an example of a fabric panel that I found at St. Vinny's, and I have gone ahead and added some batting to it, okay, and slow stitched around it, and I'm going to make this into a journal. Now, I have made one out of a different panel that I had, and this one I added like a cereal box in between the two pieces of fabric to make it a little sturdier. And this one also has the elastic in it, and what I did here is I wrapped the elastic with different colors of thread just to add a little bit more to the spine. And then I crocheted around the edges, and I put some pockets in it, and again, this one has elastic in it so you can remove. I used a couple of buttons here as closures. Very, very simple with my crochet, and you can just wrap these around the two buttons. So that's a fabric one that has been stabilized with like a cereal box or some other type of cardboard. Now with this one, I think what I'm going to do is make a soft covered journal out of this, which means that I will find another fabric to put on the back here, but I'm not going to add any cardboard or anything for stability on this one. That makes it nice and pliable and soft to the touch when you're using it. In fact, I might even use fabric as the pages in this journal. So there you go. And again, this was fairly cheap. Oh my goodness, I got this huge panel with about 6 or 7 different types of floral things on it. Like here's one that's a tulip. Now I wouldn't want to make a journal this way, although you could. But even going this way, it's still pretty. You can make a cover out of that. So that is using fabric. And you can use lace. You could take a basic piece of fabric that's like muslin or something of that nature, and sew lace to it, and you'd have a lace cover that you could use. So there would be fabric and lace. Okay, next we have file folders. Now these are used on I think a regular basis, and I have used them a lot. I have two different types of file folders here. This one was a hanging file that I used to use when I had my own embroidery business. But the folders have the score lines in them, so it makes it easy for you to make a spine. And these happen to be for legal papers, but you can get file folders in any size. I just cut the middle part off the top, and obviously I would cut this down and make it into a journal cover. And you could, again, cover this with scrapbook paper or fabric or wallpaper or magazines or book pages, whatever you care to do, that can be used as a cover. This is a manila file folder. This is also a legal one, but that could be used also to make a journal. Maybe you want to leave the tab on there over here so that you can hang something from the side of it. You know, you could cut it down, or you could take and fold this up to make pockets on either the outside or the inside of the journal. So there's a lot of different ways you can use those. Here is an example of a cover that I made with a file folder and utilizing upholstery fabric samples that we have. And then this is leather corners that I've sewn on there. And inside is some more fabric that I had. And then these are also upholstery fabric pockets that I've made. And then again, you can stitch on them however you want. You can, this has got a very small spine, maybe 1/4 of an inch. You could use this to make a 3 or 5 pamphlet stitch sew-in binding, or again, you could use elastic. You can use a lot of different type of bindings, which bindings is another thing that we're going to go through in a different video. So that would be file folders. Old binders. As I said, I like to frequent thrift shops, and not too long ago, I don't know if it was St. Vinny's or if it was Goodwill or whatever, and they had this small binder book, and this one has pictures of a lot of different florals in it. So, I mean, you might want to make a journal and leave some of these pictures in there, but also you could take some of the smaller pictures and fussy cut them to use as decorations for tags or whatever also. So that is a nice journal cover, and it's pretty much all done for you. This one has a pretty hefty spine on it, so you know. And the thing I like about this is that obviously you don't have to worry about how you're going to bind them, because they just go together with the binder clips like that. And I think, let me see, I got this one at St. Vinny's. It was $1.75. And, you know, I mean, the cover is pretty enough the way it is, but you could take out one of these pictures and put it on the front with some additional decorations, or you could cover it again if you'd like to do that. But there is another type of cover. Paper bags. Okay, well, here is an example of a paper bag that I get quite regularly. This is a Walgreens prescription bag. Well, my husband's on about 16 different types of prescriptions, so we get these frequently. So you've got this bag that you can fold in half to make a page. This is going to be a small journal, but a cute one. And if you wanted to, you could cut down this side and make that into a pocket, or you could just leave it the way it is. But you add a few of these together, and again, you could use many different types of bindings, which we'll go over later, and make a journal out of that. It would be a cute gift for someone. You could make it small enough that it would fit in somebody's purse. It could become, you know, like a little photo album where you stick photos inside in the pockets and that sort of thing. So those are that's an idea for like small bags. Now, just recently, I finished my Out of My Comfort Zone grunge journal. There are several videos about that, and that was also made out of a paper bag. So this paper bag had handles, and at first I was going to cut the handles off, and then I thought, well, no, that'd be kind of cute. I mean, we could just pick it up and walk with it that way if we wanted to. But I used the paper bags to make the front and the back cover with a little bit of a spine in here. And I just made it into a journal. And this one I took and made a cover topper to put on top of it. And then I did some crochet with some of the muslin and whatnot. And I just made it into a journal. So that is another way of using paper bags for a journal. I love this journal. It turned out so nice. This one is for sale in the Etsy store if you're interested. Old greeting cards. Well, I know that greeting cards aren't used that much anymore, but they are used on occasion, and you can also find them again at thrift stores or antique stores or something of that nature. This is just a Christmas card I got this year from one of my aunts who's in her 80s, so she still sends them out. But this can be used as a small journal. Now, here is a journal that I received as a gift from one of you subscribers, so thank you for that. This was quite a while ago, but anyway, she used a greeting card, and then she just added pages and decorated them. You know, she's got different types of paper. Here's a doily. She's made it into a pocket. There's all kinds of things that she's added to this. So you can just use that as a cover. And again, you could just use the card the way it was, or you could cover it with the different types of paper if you wanted to. So those are cute little journals. And again, fairly simple to make. So that's one. I made one not too long ago. I wanted to make what they call an accordion journal. And so I made this one, and I actually cut panels off of a greeting card that I thought was very pretty that someone had given me for my birthday. And then I made these pages that are basically like envelopes, and you just glue those together in a accordion style, and then you've got this journal. And this one has pockets in it, or you know, places where you can, or it has places where you can do writing. Very cute. And that was the cover on that is just an old greeting card. Old purses or wallets. Again, when I was thrifting, I came across this little wallet. It's, you know, fairly flat, and it's got snaps on it. I opened it up, and it's got, you know, a bunch of pockets here. Big pocket here, big pocket here, and then smaller pockets here, and even a window pocket here. And it actually has, I mean, you wouldn't want to make a huge journal out of this, but it's got enough space here that you could add one little signature to it and do it like that. And it also has a zipper on the back where you could put certain things in it if you wanted to. So I haven't tried this yet, but I'm going to try that, and we'll probably make a video of that so you can see how we do that. But that's a way, and you can use larger purses to do that too, if you wanted to try to do that. So that's an interesting journal cover. Okay. And the last one that I have today is something my husband does, and you may not be interested in tackling doing something like this, but you wouldn't have to make it as fancy as this one is. My husband is a leather worker or a leather carver, so he hand tooled this cover with a tree of life, and it actually has a space here where someone's family name could be carved in there. And it's made with real leather, and it's hand laced. You open it up, and this one has elastic in it. This piece of wood doesn't. It's just there to hold the elastic there. It's not meant to be permanent. But so it has room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different signatures in it. He has made pockets here, so there's a pocket there, and then there's a place here. There's a hole in the leather here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a place where you could slip something in there, like a picture or something, if you wanted to do that. So, and then on the back, he just put a piece of upholstery fabric that we had. Now, he has several of these in the shop for sale. This is very time consuming, so they're not inexpensive, but they are very nice, and they would last, I believe, for a long time. He has wallets and things that he made years ago that we still have and are still using. So that is the last one that I have as far as covers. I am sure, as I said, that there are many more things that you could use to make covers out of. And so if you have something that I didn't mention that you think might be useful to me or other subscribers on this channel, please go ahead and comment. I would really appreciate that. I would like some comments as to if you enjoyed this part 1 of the mini-series, and we will do the next one shortly. So I will say goodbye for today, and I hope you have a marvelous day, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye.